The movie opens up with Haruna, a middle school girl who is a softball prodigy. Her exceptional skills on the field often lead her team to victory. She has always spent most of her time practicing to improve her game and has never had a chance to make a boyfriend. Seeing her friends enjoying their time with their boyfriends, Haruna also wishes to have one when she reaches high school. The scene then shifts to Haruna's first year of high school, where she eagerly dresses up and frequently visits the city park, hoping to catch the eye of a handsome guy. Despite her efforts, she remains boyfriendless after months of waiting. One day, a guy approaches Haruna claiming to be conducting a survey, and she mistakes it for a romantic advance. While chasing after him, she stumbles and loses her shoe. To her surprise, a handsome boy named Yo comes to her aid and returns her shoe. Looking at him, Haruna feels awkward and embarrassed and flees from the scene. At school the next day, Haruna confides in her close friend about her desire to be popular and find a boyfriend. One of them suggests that she find a coach to help her achieve her goals, but with a high demand of coaches, it proves to be a challenge. Nevertheless, Haruna remembers the guy she met in the city park and wonders how to run into him again. Out of nowhere, Yo appears before her, and Haruna is happy to see him. It turns out that he's a popular senior at the school. Haruna then musters up the courage to ask him to be her coach, but his response is far from what she had hoped for. He is dismissive and critical of her lack of fashion sense, leaving her feeling dejected. However, hope is not lost when Yo's younger sister, Asami, shows up and offers to help Haruna become popular and dress fashionably. She admires Haruna's softball skills, and the two bond over their common interests. She also reveals that her brother has a history with girls and sees them as trouble, which explains his cold demeanor towards Haruna. After school, Haruna visits Asami's house to try on some of her clothes, but when Yo sees her, he criticizes her appearance, saying that Asami's clothes don't fit her. Despite his harsh words, Haruna is determined to improve herself with the help of Asami and become the confident and popular girl she wants to be. Later at night, Asami secretly watches her play baseball and is impressed by her skills. Yo also notices Haruna and her determination to succeed in life. So the next day, he has a sudden change of heart and compliments her clothes. He also offers to coach Haruna on how to become popular and get a boyfriend, but with the condition that she doesn't fall in love with him. Haruna eagerly agrees to do everything Yo asks, and he begins by taking her to a spot where she can meet boys. However, Haruna argues that she read in books that she could win a boy's heart by acting a certain way. Yo quickly dismisses the misleading book and takes Haruna to a clothing store to show her how to dress like a woman. Despite trying on many dresses, none of them flatter Haruna, and Yo eventually gives up and takes her home. At home, when Yo makes her try on different dresses, Haruna sees a bracelet made of beautiful beads and takes it. But when Yo notices, he becomes angry at her and says he will throw it away. Despite this, Yo continues to try to help Haruna come up with a good look. Just then, two of his friends, Asoka and Fumi, arrive and tease Haruna, who is very insecure and easily hurt. Later, the two share stories from Yo's past, leaving Haruna impressed, but also curious about his true self. They reveal that during Yo's middle school days, he was popular among female students and in love with a girl. However, his popularity brought him some trouble, as his classmates spread rumors that he was seeing someone else while he had a girlfriend. Sadly, his girlfriend believed the rumor, causing her to dump him despite his loyalty to her. Fumi also mentions that this experience left Joe jaded towards relationships and that the bead bracelet is something his ex-girlfriend gave him. Hearing this, Haruna gets emotional and promises to do her best to help him. But when she expresses interest in dating him, Yo warns her that relationships are not always what they appear. The next day, Yo decides to assist Haruna by arranging for his friend Fumi to take her out on a date. But despite his plan, she begins to open up to Fumi and spends time playing games with children on the beach. Yo continues to monitor Haruna's actions through messages, hoping to guide her, but she is too engrossed to notice the message. Despite agreeing to follow Yo's instructions, her innocent mistakes upset Fumi. Haruna also becomes annoyed with Yo's constant instructions and stops paying attention to them. After the date, she gives Fumi her phone number, assuming he's interested in her. However, later when she opens a message from Yo, she finds him upset that she didn't follow his instructions. Haruna immediately goes to Yo's house to apologize, but discovers Fumi and Asami making out. This is unexpected, given that Fumi had expressed his interest in Haruna just a short time ago. The next day, Haruna is unable to shake off the image of Fumi and Asami kissing and longs for a relationship of her own. At the same time, Asami invites her on a double date with Yo. Our handsome protagonist initially refuses to join in, but after a lot of insisting, he agrees. The scene then shifts to the date when the group visits a large aquarium. The double date proves to be a challenging experience for Haruna, as she struggles to emulate Asami's actions and ends up feeling awkward and uncomfortable. However, things take a turn for the better when Yo takes her for a walk and they come across a group of girls playing softball, including Haruna's younger siblings. Despite her initial reluctance to join the girls, Yo encourages her to play and she ends up having a great time. After the double date, Haruna faces some difficulty as her classmates start spreading rumors about her and Yo being in a romantic relationship. They harass her by leaving trash in her locker and even trick her into falling into a flower trap. Asami also reveals that the girls who were previously afraid to approach Yo have started sending him messages and stalking him, thinking they are better than Haruna. Following this, while in the classroom, Haruna gets a letter from Yo to meet him in the sports room. There, she finds him sick and waiting for her, but when he tells her that he hasn't sent any letter for her, they realize they've been tricked. Right then, the door of the sports room closes, and the two get trapped inside. Despite the tough situation, Haruna does her best to comfort him and keep him warm. She also tries to break down the door alone, but fails miserably. Eventually, they are rescued by Asami's best friend, and Haruna and Yo come out of the experience with a newfound closeness and understanding. After they get out, Haruna manages to catch a glimpse of the girl Rayone, who locked them both inside. It turns out that Rayone is a softball player, and Haruna has outshone her. The player harbors a grudge against Haruna, especially after learning that she and Yo are a couple. Later, Haruna rushes to the practice field and confronts Rayone. Here, the latter proposes a softball challenge and says that if Haruna beats her again, she will back off. Haruna accepts the challenge, and despite not playing softball since middle school, she emerges victorious and even surprises everyone with her amazing throw. As time goes on, Haruna feels the warmth of Yo's attention. His sweet smile makes her heart flutter, and she realizes she's in love with him. However, she can't bring herself to tell him. She isn't even focusing on her studies anymore and knows that Yo has been through a lot. On the other hand, Yo is still looking for someone who would be good for Haruna, but little does he know that she wants him. One evening at a bus stop, Haruna meets a girl named Mako who struggles to get over her ex-boyfriend. Haruna feels sorry for her, realizing that they are both suffering from unrequited love. Her mind is getting mixed up, torn between wanting to tell Yo how she feels for him and not wanting to burden him with her own feelings. As Haruna's feelings for Yo continue to grow, she can no longer keep them to herself. She decides to confess her love to him, but when she does and tells him that she likes someone, Yo assumes that Haruna likes Asoka, the boy who had asked her out at school. Haruna is heartbroken as Yo doesn't reciprocate. In the end, she removes him as her coach and severs ties with him. Yo, on the other hand, seems unfazed by Haruna's departure, which only adds to her pain. In the next scene, she receives a message from Mako who asks her to come with her to see her ex-boyfriend. Haruna agrees, but when they arrive at the house, she is shocked to discover that Mako's ex-boyfriend is none other than Yo. Haruna can't bring herself to listen to their love story, but when Mako asks for her help delivering a letter to Yo on Christmas Eve, she reluctantly agrees. The next day, Asoka seems to sense something is amiss between Yo and Haruna. He suspects that Yo has feelings for her, but is too afraid to admit it. To test his theory, Asoka asks Haruna out on a date, hoping to provoke a reaction from his friend. Initially, Yo doesn't seem to care, but when Asoka confesses his love for Haruna and lunges to kiss her, he suddenly appears and interrupts their date. Shocked, Haruna asks Yo why he interrupted their beautiful moment, and he replies that their training is not over yet. He then surprises her by asking her out on a date on Christmas Eve, telling her that he wants to teach her something new. The scene then shifts to Christmas Eve, where Haruna has a wonderful time with Yo, but she can't shake the thought of the letter Mako left for him. Despite knowing it will hurt her deeply, Haruna gathers the courage to deliver the letter to Yo. He reads it and asks how Haruna knows his ex-girlfriend. Before clarifying anything, Haruna confesses her feelings for Yo and walks away, assuming that he will get back with Mako and that they can never be together. As she runs back home alone, her mind is consumed by thoughts of Yo, and her heart is filled with pain. She's conflicted about having gone on a date with him, only to now witness him meeting his ex-girlfriend, Mako. In the end, she feels extremely uneasy about the situation, so she rushes after them as fast as she can. Unfortunately, Haruna trips and falls, losing her shoe in the process, and she is left stranded on the pavement. It is at this moment that Yo appears out of nowhere, offering to help her retrieve her shoe, like at the beginning of the movie. As they talk, Yo shares with Haruna that he doesn't want to see Mako anymore, and that he sees her as a good person. He confesses his feelings, telling Haruna that he admires her for who she is, regardless of her sense of style or popularity in school. Haruna is overjoyed to hear such heartfelt words, and feels a sense of closeness between them. The movie concludes with the two of them sharing a kiss, signaling the start of a new chapter in their relationship.